Okay, so Vitodens 300, not very common boiler in the UK. I have a pair here that I look after, and just carrying out servicing on these two. I thought it'd be an interesting time just to show you what they look like and discuss some of the sort of history of them. So Wiesmann have had a few variations of their heat exchanger, and hasn't been completely trouble-free, but it's been pretty much trouble-free. And the latest version of them, I think there's pretty much got any little problems ironed out. But on some of the earlier models, they had this system where these had been welded on, the studs had been welded on the front face of the heat exchanger. And if the bolts were a little bit over tightened, these would actually just pop off and they would cause a small crack in the front of the heat exchanger. You get a little tiny leak on the front face here, which would cause a failure of the hex. So I've seen that happen a few times on this method. Then they had one which had this front face was made from aluminium, and the sump part, there's kind of like a shape in the bottom of this outer skin, and it really wasn't sort of steep enough, I don't think. So the condense could gather against the aluminium on the side, and we all know that aluminium is not a good material for heat exchangers. And of course, on some of them, if they were very slightly leant forward. Now, I would say this is a very typical installation of a boiler. It's on a brick wall, and it's to whatever level that wall was built to, and I'm pretty certain we'd all agree that would be very normal for level. And I don't think some of the ones that have failed would be any different to this. You wouldn't be able to see a significant lean forward, but if there was a little bit of a lean, the contents would gather on the front here, would corrode this front part, and hey presto, hex failure. And I've probably dealt with about, I don't know, 4 of those, and considering how many hundreds and hundreds of Wiesmann boilers I deal with, it's not a major problem, but it's a frustration. And if they wangle their way out of a warranty, it seems a little bit wrong to me. Generally they haven't, and a little bit of a fuss, I think. Even the ones they have, they wouldn't have done, but it's down to the installer to give them a good hard push and a shove, and if he doesn't, I think they're going to try and get away with it, which is a shame. Very simple boiler, this one. It's in effect a heat only boiler. There's no expansion vessel, just a massive heat exchanger. A pump on the bottom there, which you could argue is almost not in the boiler. There is a pump kit that mounts on the bottom of these, I think, and you can run it as a 4-pipe. As you can see there, we've got 2 connections there that would run to hot water. No internal diverter valve. That would be done from the pumps and from the control system. The fan mounts, a few nuts on those studs that I was telling you about, and mounts on the front. And we've got this very beautiful burner arrangement. This is low NOx and all singing, all dancing burner from Wiesmann. I don't know that much about it, to be fair. The weakness on these boilers, on the 300, was the fan and the gas valves, and did quite a lot of those exchanges. Fans, there's a little plastic piece inside, just inside here, that shears off and leaves the fan rattling around and unable to drive air, and I would imagine that was modified once the fans have been changed. From the early models, didn't seem to be any recurrence. So it's not actually made by Wiesmann. And these gas valves, chrome shredder gas valves, a few little issues with these. They seem to have quite a high failure rate at the beginning, and I know when I first started working for Wiesmann, I got given a huge pile of these, but I think the problem was pretty much wrapped up by the time I started working for them. However, I have changed a few. These also had a recall on them, safety recall on them, where we had to change the washers, the rubber seals, from black seals to green seals. And in fact, I think even these seals, I don't know if you can see in there, there's a green seal there. So this one was either one of the later ones with the green seals in, or has been upgraded, not sure which. And the other thing to know about these, if you ever go out to a 300, this plate needs to be changed. The gas valve arrives looking the same, but it's got a dummy plate here, and this plate has got a disc in the back which controls the rate of gas flow through the gas valve, and you must remove this part from the old gas valve and fit it to the new one, otherwise you'll get all sorts of weird combustion problems going on. So hope that helps.